Hi everyone, it's Sloan Rhodes. Welcome to your Spiritual Self-Mastery class, Ego and Heart, for the week of September 9th, 2018. So this week, well, first of all, I hope everyone had an enjoyable week. It's kind of a weird week for me, but not necessarily not enjoyable. Okay, so I think what I want to do, for the overarching theme, I'm going to get one card from the Mermaids and Dolphins deck by Doreen Virtue, and then I'm not going to use the tarot deck this week. I think I'll use the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reid, one card in the position of what our ego may try to distract us with based on the overarching theme, one card in the position of what our heart asks that we explore further, and one card in the position of what we can expect or look forward to regardless. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, here we go. Rest. You've been working hard, take a nap and get some rest. We have alchemy under the deck. You have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. Well, that's certainly may be true for many of you, but remember, alchemy is also about transmutation, and this is why sometimes we need to rest. It takes work to transform patterns, transmute denser energies into lighter energies. So, be gentle, be kind, and allow yourself to rest if you need to rest, rather than worrying that you're not getting enough done, you're not being productive. You know how that works. Allow yourself to rest. It's impossible to heal without rest. It's impossible to continually be at a 10 level. There's a rhythm to life, and this week looks like there is an encouragement for all of us to take a breath, slow things down a little bit, and allow our bodies to rest so that we can integrate, transmute, and renew ourselves. Let's see what the ego may try to distract us with. Now, for some of you, the ego may already be coming in and being like, all I do is rest. When are things going to move? And for others of you, it'll be like, I don't have time to rest. I have too much to do. Let's see what the other cards say. Okay, here we go. So the ego may try to distract us with come to the edge. The heart asks that we explore further. Not for you. Think of that Seinfeld's episode with the soup Nazi. No soup for you. And what we can expect or look forward to regardless is the thinker. We have regeneration under the deck again. Goes with that very nicely with the rest card, as well as the alchemical healing and transmutation that's occurring. Well, the ego may try to distract us here with the come to the edge, as I'm feeling it, is you're almost there, you feel like you almost get what you want, but then you don't. You're right there, but not quite, and the ego can kind of keep you in this perilous or precarious, seemingly perilous, feeling precarious position of tipping over. Like you're almost there. You're close to the end. We have regeneration. We have 46. We have the number 10. This is 36, the number 9. So we're approaching the end of a cycle. You're at the edge. You can feel it. You can taste it. You can smell it, but you're not there yet. And the ego may try to distract you with, you're never going to get it. You're never going to complete this cycle. You're never going to get what you want. You're always just out of, it's always just out of reach. You know, that carrot at the end of the stick. And so with the ego asking, or the ego, I guess it does ask, much as the heart does, but the ego likes to distract us with this idea that we're almost there, but not yet. Come to the edge, you know, but not over the threshold. And the heart asks that we explore further this idea, even in even more depth. You know, it's not for you. Almost there, but not quite. You can see it, but you can't actually get it, you know. And the heart says, this idea that it's not for you, where can you explore that with a gentler feel? Where can you explore it with more loving consciousness? Is it indeed not for you? Or is it just that you keep fanning those flames of, I can never get what I want? You know, the ego is perennially, the inner child, perennially not getting what it wants. Always grasping for more, always wanting more. Even if the inner child were to get the ice cream cone, let's say, it would not be enough. The inner child would want chocolate sprinkles upon it, or another scoop, or a different flavor. You know, and it's this kind of thing. Never enough, never enough. Not quite there. Come to the edge. Come on, come on, come on. But not for you. You know, and the heart says, you know, you actually have everything already within you. It's just a matter of identifying where you hold some version of what you're already wanting and exploring it more. And how, in some places, can it feel as though something is not for you, but it's just that it's taking longer than your ego would like. So it's not necessarily that it's not for you, but in this particular moment, it's not quite for you in terms of its final manifestation. Remember, you're resting. We have this regeneration. We have this alchemical transmutation of energies going on. And so it may feel like, you know, it's not for you, but it's the heart says, well, where can you explore that thought with more love and more allowance? Maybe it's just not for you in this exact moment in terms of its final manifestation, but it's certainly for you as it's occurring just as it is. The ego doesn't like that. The ego wants the, you know, to jump over the threshold. Something to think about, because what we have to look forward to or expect regardless is the thinker. And, you know, for me, it's not even so much about the word, the thinker. It's about this overall place of regeneration. You know, if we look at this card as the overarching theme, rest, quietude, reflection, solitude for some. And we have the thinker card. It feels very similar. So you may be thinking, certainly, but even more importantly, you are taking some time out of time to rebuild the blocks. You know, the way that she's sitting on these blocks, right? And we have this idea of regeneration, alchemy, this transmutation, the resting, taking time out here. And the ego says, you're not, you know, come on, hurry up. You're almost there. Keep going. Make things happen. Or you're never going to get it, you know. It's gonna, you can feel it out in your own life. You know, you'll know what feels right for you. You'll know when that ego comes in to cause that anxiety, you know. And the key, as you know, is not overly identifying what the ego is trying to distract you with, but coming back to your heart, reminding yourself to be gentle and loving, and to ask questions. How is this actually for me, just as it is? You know, explore this thought. You know, explore your thoughts. Thinker. Explore the thought process that goes behind that. It's not for me. Well, it is for you if it's occurring. It's for you to explore why it's for you. You know, perhaps you're dropping deeper into your heart. Perhaps you are learning more about surrender without trying to move things into the direction that you're wanting. Perhaps sometimes it's okay just to rest, to heal, to regenerate, to transform. Your heart says it is for you. You can explore those thoughts with more loving allowance. And the ego says, no, come to the edge. Come on, come on, come on. You're almost there. You're not quite there yet, but you're almost there. push harder, do more. And that's not for you. You're not going to get it, you know. And the heart, again, it is for you. How is this for me? How is the situation unfolding exactly as it is? And how is that for me? How is it the exact perfect unfolding for me? Sometimes when you are shifting a pattern, you are transforming an aspect of your life or transmuting those denser energies as you come more to the heart space. It can feel exhausting because all the energy is going in, you know, as opposed to out. So it's like when you see a pregnant woman, right? On the surface, you know, she might look a little tired possibly, but all her energy is going in, you know, for a reason. She is creating something new. And so it's exhausting. And, you know, you might intellectualize and say, yeah, she's probably tired. But in truth, all of her energy is going in, physically, spiritually, energetically, emotionally too, as well, in many ways. So it's tiring. But, you know, she has to rest. You know, we understand this. But we don't give ourselves that same loving allowance to rest when we are regenerating aspects of our lives or recreating or transforming or transmuting energies. You know, you're exploring your thoughts this week, regardless, but in a more loving way. We have number 44, you know, associated with the archangels. And if there's an archangel that you have a particular relationship with, you can ask for continued guidance and thank them for continuing to help you to grow and expand and to be restful with a kind heart, you know, without the self-judgment that you are supposed to be doing something differently. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing if you're doing it. But the more that you can draw consciousness towards it and say, this is for me, and how is this for me that it's happening exactly as it's happening? Well, perhaps you're learning patience. Perhaps you're gaining greater consciousness about the rhythms of life or your own natural rhythms. Something to think about here. So the trick, really, because it looks like thoughts are going to be prominent this week, is to identify where those thoughts bring you to the edge of stress and anxiety, and where you can say, look at that thought. That was a really stressful thought to my heart for a few minutes there, or a few hours, however long that cycle kind of lasts. And you say, well, how is that for me? Well, perhaps I'm learning to identify when the inner child feels stressed, when the inner child feels unseen, unheard, abandoned by me. And you can turn gently to your inner child, to the ego, however you want to consider it, to your mind, and you can say, I love you. I see you and I hear you. And I'm choosing to recognize how this is for me so that I can have a greater understanding of when my inner child is feeling unsafe or unloved, or when my ego is wanting to distract me with stress and anxiety. That isn't who I'm beginning to understand isn't where I truly want to be and spend more of the time. You're regenerating. Rebirth is occurring. It requires some rest, right? Okay, I hope you find that helpful. I'm going to close out the reading. There's a lot to play with. It's a relatively short reading, but there's a lot there. Remember, the main theme of the week is to be restful, but with a kind heart, with gentleness, and ask, how is this for me? And if you have a situation where you get sick, or you have an injury of some kind, and you're forced to rest, how is this for me? You know, perhaps I've been trying to over-manifest, overdo, pushing myself in a way that wasn't necessarily the healthiest for me. Where can I recognize that and be more loving and kind towards myself? So, all right, I hope you find that helpful. I wish you much love for the week, and I will see you next week or at your private appointment.